Welcome to your Houston Rewind for November 21st through the 25th. I'm KHOU 11 digital anchor Brandi Smith. Turkey Day preps, travel, Black Friday shopping, Thanksgiving week always has a lot going on in your life and in our newsroom. So this weekend, we are taking the opportunity to fill you in on some of the stories you may have missed. Let's rewind. A former City of Houston employee is accused of using a bribery scheme to trick drivers. Investigators say she's facing charges because she took money to remove wheel locking boots from ticketed cars. On Monday, Janelle Bluda met with a driver who says he was one of her victims.
That driver says he paid for his parking downtown and put his ticket on his dash. When he came back, he says his car was booted, and the Park Houston employee gave him two options: to have it towed or pay her cash. Parking in downtown Houston can sometimes be tricky enough.
I legally parked behind one of my employees.
But Mateo Giato thought he had done everything right when he paid for a space back in August.
I paid for parking and put a ticket in my windshield.
But when he went back to leave a couple hours later,
Parked behind me was a City of Houston vehicle with a City of Houston employee that had just put a boot on my car.
Giato says he's never had his car booted before.
And she was telling me that I owed $600 in parking fees. Guess I believed her since it looked legitimate to me, and I hadn't been driving my car for like 6 months. I had loaned it to my girlfriend.
That's when he says the employee approached him with two options.
You know when you get a gut feeling that it might be a scam?
Either have it towed or
Unofficial settlement directly with her, and she would unboot my vehicle.
He says it all happened so fast, but he took the more appealing option, giving the employee $200 in cash to unboot his car and let him go.
It was kind of one of those split decisions, like, man, I got things to do, I got places to go. I'll just settle this and get out of it.
He says 3 weeks later, a detective called him telling Giato he was scammed and he wasn't the only one. Police arrested that employee, Aisha Mercer, last week. This is her in court Friday. Giato still doesn't know if he actually had any unpaid parking tickets, but he's quite certain he won't be getting his $200 back.
If your gut instinct is telling you it's a scam, believe it.
Park Houston has released a statement saying they are fully cooperating. If you think you were a victim of this scam, you're asked to contact Houston Police.
Monday morning, the Orion spacecraft passed 81 miles above the moon on its journey to 40,000 miles beyond the far side of the moon. Sherman Chow shared an update on this latest milestone.
Preparing to bring humans back there within a few years, this is a game changer.
As Orion approached the moon, its rockets and lunar gravity helped swing the capsule around the moon toward a distant retrograde orbit.
This is really where we're going to learn about Orion while we fly around the moon, about 38,000 miles off the lunar surface.
That is the farthest any vehicle designed to carry humans will have ever flown. It allows NASA to test key systems before a manned flight. And right now, Commander Murican Campos, a mannequin equipped with data sensors, is standing in for humans. Orion will spend up to 19 days in retrograde orbit, and on its return will perform another lunar flyby using a gravity assist from the moon to return to Earth. But that slingshot maneuver means Orion will be coming in hot, literally, at 5,000 degrees. So one of the biggest tests will be the heat shield to protect the capsule and crew. As for the mission so far?
I will simply say that the results were eye-watering. The rocket performed and or exceeded expectations. Everything was either on predict or off by less than 1%.
The ultimate goal of all of this is to establish a lunar base camp and an orbital gateway to help man travel to Mars. Sherman Chow, KHOU 11 News.
During a week when so many of us took time to give thanks, one woman had a little extra to be thankful for. Next week, she'll get a much-needed new kidney from an old elementary school friend. On Monday, Maria Aguilera told the story of how the two reconnected.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Crystal Watson and Jennifer Tyndall met in second grade in Central Texas. Life drifted them apart for more than 30 years. Watson now lives in Clute. Tyndall lives in Waco. And recently, they reconnected on Facebook. Something life-changing is bringing them back even closer together.
I'm so glad that you're in my life, and I'm glad I found you. And I can't ever thank you enough.
Last year, Watson shared she was eligible for a kidney transplant. A few of her friends messaged her willing to be a living donor. Tyndall was one of them.
I just felt compelled. I felt like God was just telling me, you know what, just reach out. What's it going to hurt?
She was sent a blood kit. She was a match.
They both say it was divine intervention that their faith in God led them to each other.
I really believe I was just was kind of called by God.
It was just a wonderful feeling that somebody that I met in second grade is now going to be my donor.
Watson says it's a huge gift for someone like Tyndall to donate an organ.
Maybe this is the only reason you're here on this earth. You're here to give somebody else at least a little bit better of a life.
And in a week, Tyndall will have the opportunity to give her childhood friend a better life.
Consider her my hero. That she's going to donate something that's her part of her, and I just thank her so much.
Where is Delano Burks? If you know that answer, a $5,000 reward could be yours. He hasn't been seen for more than a week after he disappeared during a night out with friends. Grace White updated us on the search for him Tuesday.
Police told us they can't rule out foul play, but they also can't rule out that Delano Burks may have wandered off. Now, 2 days before Thanksgiving, this family is desperate for answers.
We want to find Mr. Burks. No family should have to experience this.
These are the last known images of 26-year-old Delano Burks leaving McIntyre's bar on West 20th. It was early Sunday morning, November 13th, just after 1 a.m.
He was with a friend that he hadn't seen in a while. They left him at the club.
His mother, Karen Jeffley, says her son is married, owns a real estate investment company, and played football for the Lions at Texas A&M Commerce. Not coming home was not like him, she says.
They had been there for a while because they were watching, I think it was a fight that they were watching, so he was tipsy.
She worries something else may have happened.
In the video, you can tell he was tipsy, but it also looks like there was more involved. When we feel like he was drugged.
But when we asked Houston police if they believe Burks was slipped something in his drink,
we do not have any evidence to suggest that he was drugged or slipped anything. We can't rule that out. I'm not saying it didn't happen.
Right now, what happened is anyone's guess. Crime Stoppers offering a $5,000 reward, hoping to get someone's attention.
It's very, very imperative that everybody, the whole community, helps us find him.
The focus from the beginning has been on the Heights, but police asking people tonight to broaden the search, saying he could be anywhere, and they believe it will be the public that will solve this case. In downtown, Grace White, KHOU 11 News.
This week, 21 families in Uvalde celebrated their first major holiday without the students and teachers they love. Thanksgiving marked 6 months since the Robb Elementary shooting. Tuesday, I traveled back there to find out what, if anything, has changed. Under a gray sky, an empty building. Windows boarded, swings still, the grass overgrown. Silence. 6 months ago, Robb Elementary was the site of the worst school shooting in Texas history. 21 lives lost. Their deaths reignited a national conversation about school safety and security, about guns, about mental health. But what's changed in the community of Uvalde? This is an obvious answer. Fencing around all of Uvalde's schools. The district is also working to install camera systems and secure entrances at its campuses. But Uvalde CISD is undergoing far more changes. The man who headed up the district when the shooting happened has since retired. Dr. Hal Harrell has taken on the title of Superintendent Emeritus, while interim superintendent Gary Patterson officially took over on November 1st. The district fired its police chief, Pete Arredondo, in August. 2 months later, the board voted to suspend the remaining UCISD officers. DPS troopers have since assumed school security duties. The district introduced its new interim police chief, Josh Gutierrez,
a week ago, just a day before the man who held that title at the city on May 24th stepped down. That's Lieutenant Mariano Pargas, also re-elected as Uvalde County Commissioner on November 8th, a position he still holds. Arredondo, who voters chose to be a Uvalde City Councilor, resigned from his seat.
The biggest change is yet to come. The district plans to build a new $50 million school 2 miles from here and demolish Robb Elementary. What it can erase is the memory tied to that name, whether the sign stands or not. A group of volunteers in Conroe is helping women who've run into financial challenges by fixing their cars for free. But the nonprofit is doing more than getting cars back on the road. Marcelino Benito introduced us to God's Garage.
It's the most rewarding thing we could ever do.
For 12 years, volunteers at God's Garage have been trying to get underserved women back out on the road.
If you're single or disabled and you don't even have reliable transportation, then you are in what I call God's ditch.
Not too long ago, Candace Mays was deep in God's ditch. Her car damaged when thieves stole her catalytic converter in broad daylight.
I didn't know how I was going to support my kids or get to work or get them to school. And the fear of losing my car was like paralyzing.
A quick Google search led her to the nonprofit in Conroe.
And they didn't just help with the car, it just helped with me.
You see, God's Garage is a lot more than free vehicle repair.
While the mechanics are working on their car, we're trying to recharge the ladies.
Volunteers host faith seminars, helping women bounce back too.
The car is a piece of what we do, but the total life transformation, the hope, is what we get goosebumps about.
This year alone, they've helped 400 women with new or repaired vehicles, and they hope to expand to help even more Texas women. Their new 10,000 square foot facility, including 6,000 square feet of garage space, should do the trick.
There's nothing that lifts a lady out of poverty more than education and transportation.
As for Candace, her life kicked back into gear, all thanks to God's Garage.
I'm great now.
Her focus now, one day being able to be the fuel for other women who feel broken down.
To be able to help another single mom out that felt just like I did, there's nothing better than that. To let her know that there is hope and that you can do this and you're not alone, that's the best feeling ever.
In Conroe, Marcelino Benito, KHOU 11 News.
Just in case watching a story like that inspires some generosity, I want to share that the KHOU 11 Secret Santa Toy Drive is in full swing. We're collecting new unwrapped toys and donations for the Salvation Army's Angel Tree program. You can pitch in by scanning the QR code on your screen, and together, we helped more than 5,000 Houston area families last year. This year, the need is even greater. You can donate through December 3rd. A DACA recipient with an American wife and child is being barred from entering the U.S. for 10 years. He was on track for permanent residency, went to Mexico, then found out he wasn't allowed back. On Wednesday, Gerald Harris explained why Houston congressman is pushing to reunite the family.
The wife and son of Avalos are spending Thanksgiving in Mexico as a result of Avalos not being able to come back to his family here in Houston. The law is straightforward.
If you're in the country and you're undocumented, and if you leave, you are now barred, banned from coming back into the country for 10 years.
However, Jaime Avalos' story is a bit different.
And just having to get used to our new reality has been really hard and really stressful in our situation, not only financially, but emotionally.
Tuesday, Avalos' wife Yariana joined Congressman Green and their lawyer on a trip to Mexico to check on the father of their son. Today, they're temporarily reunited away from home.
This isn't home to him. Home to him is Houston, Texas.
Avalos was brought to the U.S. as a child. His mom took him to Mexico around 7 years old to register his birth. Avalos, while going to a scheduled interview at the U.S. Consulate General in Mexico as part of the process to obtain his permanent residency, he was made aware that he couldn't return and now doesn't know what's next.
I do feel sad that I can't see my family. Unfortunately, I won't see my kid learn new things. I'll miss out on a lot of things. I'm grateful that they're here right now.
This baby should not grow up without his father.
Green introduced a private bill to ask for permanent residency for Avalos and to change the law.
He has spent all of his adult life in this country. He graduated from Bel Air High School. He has been working in this country. He has not committed any crimes. He is married to an American-born woman.
And Avalos' birthday is Friday. Thankfully, his family will be with him to celebrate before they have to return here to the United States. Now, Congressman Green says that it will be an uphill battle trying to get Avalos back, but they're going to try. In Houston, Gerald Harris, KHOU 11 News.
Uvalde Strong. We heard that declaration loud and clear as the community united following the shooting at Robb Elementary. But 6 months later, some say there's more conflict than consensus. Wednesday, I dug into what's causing the divide.
When we first spoke, I was very hopeful.
Annie Gutierrez's family has called Uvalde home for 5 generations.
6 months later, that's not the way I feel.
I first met her in late May, less than a week after her community lost 21 lives, back when these words seemed to be painted in every window in town.
I'm hoping that Uvalde Strong means we're going to help each other.
Now,
I feel that there's a lot of division.
Just as the paint has faded, cracked, disappeared from some of the downtown Uvalde signs, residents here say the sentiment behind it has too.
The families initially were less interested in politics and were dealing with all of their grief. And so they found advocacy in all of this, and they've gotten angry.
We've seen those emotions on display in public meetings.
You need to do something.
And outside of them.
You still allow these people who listen to our children die.
All the meetings that they attend, their verbal comments has actually divided us more than united us.
I think that at their core, what they truly want is for no other parent to have to go through their pain ever again.
The divide only seems to have deepened after the November 8th election, in which Uvalde County resoundingly supported Governor Greg Abbott. A number of parents posted images on social media showing Uvalde Strong upside down. The mother of Maite Rodriguez tweeted, "It's a good thing your child is alive and able to ride that Uvalde Strong bike and go to the Uvalde Strong Astros game," before calling Uvalde a joke and a bunch of fake freebie clowns. Lexi Rubio's mother shared, "The anger is harder to suppress than the sadness, though I suppose they are one and the same."
I certainly think parents wanted to see a different electoral process play out, so that at least they would have some evidence that their community was at least listening to their one specific issue.
6 months since that devastating day, now the question is, what do the next 6 months hold for Uvalde?
The rest of Texas should be a little bit more empathetic of what happened to these people. They truly are fighting for them, and they truly are fighting for some common sense gun solutions so that maybe one less child dies in this way.
Hopefully some of these issues will be resolved and healing can start.
If it does, when it does, Annie's certain Uvalde can be strong once again.
You know, we still want to heal, and we're not there yet, unfortunately.
Plenty of us cooked Thanksgiving dinner this week. Some of us maybe ran into issues with our kitchen sink and pipes. Brittany Ford shared the warning from Houston Public Works on Wednesday that can serve as a reminder that we can use ahead of Christmas dinner too.
And then you would just look in there.
The week after Thanksgiving is usually a busy time if you're in the plumbing business.
You do have an influx of calls. I mean, people have families over, a lot of people in the house, and You've got usually only have one kitchen sink, right?
Timothy Knight with John Moore Services says most clogs are an easy fix. Unless
people will pour grease down their lines, which is a no-no.
And the city of Houston says it's not just what you're putting down your sink that could lead to a bigger issue.
So if a whole community, if everybody is allowing fats, oils, and grease to go down their drain, then it builds up in our city's main lines.
Houston Public Works says sewage overflows double during the holiday season.
It can cause people to get sick. It can have E. coli and things like that because this water is also it's all of the wastewater together.
So what should you do with that leftover turkey grease?
Pour any leftover fats, greases, and oils into a heat-resistant container like a jar or a old can to let that cool down, and then when it's completely full, to toss it into the trash.
A few steps that can help you avoid.
People will put too much stuff sometimes in a disposal to where it can't handle it.
A costly problem. Brittany Ford, KHOU 11 News.
We know a lot of you go all out on holiday decorations, really decking the halls, so we want to give you the shout out you deserve. Go to khou.com/holidayhomes and tell us about your house, the neighbor's house, that house you noticed the other day. We are featuring the best of the best every week starting on November 30th. The HEB Thanksgiving Day Parade made its grand return Thursday despite the rain. It was the parade's 73rd year, making it one of the oldest Thanksgiving Day parades in the country. Adam Bennett talked to Houstonians about its comeback.
Another successful Thanksgiving Day parade is in the books. You know, this is the first one we've gotten to enjoy in 3 years because of COVID in 2020, the lightning last year, but people here today tell us it was worth the wait. On Thanksgiving morning, in the streets and stands of downtown Houston, there was excitement and hope from people here to watch the parade.
We came last year, had our front row seats,
and take part in it.
Last year we got rained out, so we're crossing our fingers.
That the third time's the charm, 3 years after the last HEB Thanksgiving Day parade. Not long after Grand Marshal Curtis Jackson, better known as 50 Cent, amped up the crowd, they heard the roar of confetti cannons instead of thunder. And the parade was on. 20 blocks featuring 20 balloons, 14 floats, half of them new, and marching bands. A brief downpour sent some parade goers heading for the exits, but most stuck around to see what came next. A performance by Houston rapper Bun B, plus a celebration of the diverse cultures, well-known organizations, and familiar faces in the community, plus major accomplishments in the nation's fourth largest city.
we had a blast, which is awesome.
Worth it though?
Yeah.
The continuation of a Houston tradition.
I have been coming down here since I was a kid.
And a chance to build memories with the next generation. What was your favorite part?
Grandpa riding in the parade.
We really enjoyed it. Dances were amazing, and I loved all the floats.
While looking forward to the next holiday. Adam Bennett, KHOU 11 News.
You can watch our coverage of the 2022 HEB Thanksgiving Day Parade hosted by Ron Trevino and Deborah Duncan in full. Find it on our YouTube channel or our KHOU 11 Plus app on Roku and Fire TV. You've probably been eating dessert for a couple of days now. You ready for another bite? Thursday, Jason Bristol served up something special in another strange but true Houston sports story.
A big mouth? Yeah, he had that. But big enough to eat this? The date, January 17th, 1967. The occasion, Muhammad Ali's birthday. He's in Houston training for a title fight here. And to celebrate the champ turning 25, officials from the Astrodome present him with this colossal cake. Whoa! It's 4 feet wide, 2 feet high. It weighs 578.5 pounds. Wow! Made with 1,500 eggs, 150 pounds each of flour, sugar, and butter. It's also topped with 120 pounds of buttercream icing. Holy cow! Whoa, wait. Haven't we done a cake story like this before? Yes, for Willie Mays' birthday, a year later in 1968. It weighed a little less than Ali's, 569 pounds. 1 pound for each home run Willie has hit in the majors. 2 enormous cakes, and one creative baker. Roland Lands, now 88, the founder of Roland Swiss Pastry and Bakery in Houston, famous for its Hansel and Gretel houses. Roland recalls Ali's cake taking
2 days.
2 days to make, and the bill was $400. That's about $3,400 today.
Muhammad, he was real nice with me.
Featured in nearly every newspaper in the country, the cake ignites Ham in Ali, who jokingly asks if his opponent is hiding inside. Ali also offers a large piece to Roland's daughter, who was just 5 at the time.
And I'm pretty sure that I was a little shy and just kind of backed up and refused the cake, which my dad probably was horrified.
Ali's trainer is mortified by all that frosting. He insists the champ not eat that part, you know, for training reasons. A heavyweight champ-sized cake for Muhammad Ali, a strange but true Houston sports story.
If you want to get out of the house this weekend, solo or with your family, the Houston area is loaded with hidden gems to explore.
Want to burn off that Thanksgiving dinner? Do it by exploring some of the amazing green spaces in our area, like Cullinan Park in Sugar Land, Exploration Green in Clear Lake, Memory Park in Montgomery, or Memorial Park in Houston. Those are all free. You could also take a stroll through your neighborhood to see if you can find any of Houston's historic blue tiles, the city's first street signs. If you're interested in art, go on a free walking tour at a local college campus like Rice, U of H, or Sam Houston State. They are all loaded with fascinating sculptures, which are detailed on their respective websites. There is probably a history buff or two with you this weekend. Let them geek out with historical interpreters at the Sam Houston Memorial Museum in Huntsville or the George Ranch Historical Park in Richmond. You can show them around Houston's first airport, now the 1940 Air Terminal Museum, the Buffalo Bayou Cistern, or Bayou Bend Collection and Gardens.
Hope that helped you catch up on this past week and you are ready for the next one. Remember, you can tune into KHOU 11 on air, online via KHOU.com and YouTube, as well as by using our KHOU 11 Plus app on Roku and Fire TV. Have a great week.